Welcome everybody to the welcome everyone to the first episode of the Prospect Power Hour podcast, featuring me, Joseph Young, and Ryan Lippert. How are you doing, Ryan?
Good, just ready to get college football started, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
long off season, too long.
it's finally week 0. It's been a long off season, like you said. Give us a quick introduction of yourself.
So I've been with BLITZ for few years now. Director of scouting here. Do a little bit on the side with the Steelers site called Steel City Underground, but like to focus a lot on scouting nowadays. So this is my time of year, ready to get college football going. So
Yeah.
there you go in there.
I'm also on Blitzalytics as well. I'm the Titans beat writer and also a senior scout. And also I write feature articles as well, as some of you may have read in the past. So let's get right to it. College football has changed. The environment has changed. We know it has changed in these couple of summer months. Like, NILs and NILs going full steam now. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's about time for the NIL. I mean, I've always had a problem, especially with like the more popular players. Like back in the day, you had Johnny Manziel. You'd see all his jerseys and all these T-shirts and stuff with their name. I've always just thought that was wrong that they didn't get a slice of the pie, so to say, when that money comes in. I've always kind of refer back to a old 30 for 30 I watched. I don't know if you've seen it about the Fab Five Michigan. I remember
Yeah.
Jalen Rose told a story. He said he was walking past a sporting goods store when he was in college and saw a Michigan number 5 jersey, all Nike, and he's like, he didn't have enough money in his pocket to buy the jersey himself. So I'm like, these guys need some form of money. Yes, they get scholarships and stipends and all that good stuff, but I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't profit. And now, I mean, it's going to turn into a big recruiting tool too, because, like say Oregon, they're right next to Nike. They could talk to some of these big recruits, be like, hey, you want that Nike contract quick? We got you covered. I mean, it's right in our backyard. So that's going to be a big deal. And it's going to help some young kids make life-changing money. I mean, we've seen Bryce Young hasn't stepped on the field yet. He might be a millionaire by the time the season starts.
Yeah.
So definitely,
Yeah.
definitely changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Derek King, Miami's quarterback, has launched an agency to help represent players through that process. So I'm really glad for college players taking care of their own brand, so to speak, being in their own control of it, so they can market themselves better to the overall market. Because, of course, you mentioned Oregon with Nike, and Bo Nix with his iced tea company. Uh, that was really funny. It's a really local IC company for us, so it's yeah. I mean, everybody's making money off of this. It incentivizes juniors to stay in school, because some of them aren't ready. As you can see, like hundreds of NFL prospects declaring when well, clearly they're not ready for it, so they can stay another year, develop, and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to be overall pretty good for everyone involved. There's always going to be bagmen, so we can't control that. But it should reduce the bagmen's influence.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said though, it's gonna keep some guys from declaring early with like a 6th-round grade just to get a little money.
Yeah, because as in years past, you're like, why is this guy declaring? From the jump that he has no shot at the NFL.
Yeah.
He probably has, off-field circumstances like family issues he needs to take care of. But now that they can make money off their name and stuff, they can, stay in school, get their degree possibly. Because football isn't forever as much as we want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does this mean for the NCAA going forward? Do you think they're dead in the water, or do you think they'll be surviving in some capacity?
I think they'll still survive. I mean, NCAA, they're a big business in themselves. I mean, they're still gonna make their TV sales. They're still gonna get ticket sales, merchandise. I think
Mhm.
they'll survive. I don't think it's going to kill them that much. Is it going to take away a little bit because they are putting money in players' pockets? Sure, but I don't think it's going to kill them, so to say.
Yeah, that's a nice segue into our next topic because the SEC decided to add Oklahoma and Texas over the summer a couple of weeks ago, and now the other Power Five conferences are trying to ally with each other to stop the SEC, minus the Big 12 because the Big 12 has been um, cast aside. So that's gonna be interesting going forward because like it's SEC versus everybody now.
I mean, I love to see it personally. I would like to see more Power Fives kind of clash with each other. I'd love it if it could happen this year. With Oklahoma and Texas, I'd love to see Spencer Rattler test them against some SEC defenses. And I mean, Texas, I mean, they're not what they used to be, but they're still, what you, I guess, in basketball terms call blue blood. I mean, so they bring some intrigue into an already top level conference. So I think it's going to be good for college football, man. I'm excited to see it. Um, I think more of it will probably come down the road because I mean there were rumors. I don't buy much into them right now, but there were rumors that Clemson was kind of leaning over and a couple other teams into the SEC. So we'll see. I mean, college football could be a way different landscape when we're looking back in like 5 to 10 years from now.
It's of course with the playoff expansion thing going on, so we just never know what these conferences will look like in maybe 2 years, much less five, because it's money is king these days. So
Yeah, yeah, and it might help the college football playoff expand too. Because I mean, I think I think they should expand it to 8 teams because I mean, there's always those teams that you're like, man, if they would just got it shot, like they maybe
yeah,
could have done something. So and that could spark that conversation even more. So
yeah, I think the FCS has proved that they can do playoffs, like multi-game playoffs with
yeah,
a lot of teams. They can, if they can handle it. So with the money and power that the FBS has, they can definitely do it for sure. So, do you have any other thoughts on the state of the college football union, so to speak?
yeah. Ah, I really. I mean, it. Like I said, it's ever changing. We're gonna look in 5 years from now, and we're gonna be like, wow. Like I kind of, you look back on like compare it to college basketball. You used to have like the Big East and all that stuff, and now you look and you're like, wow, that's not even a thing anymore. I mean, we could be looking at that with the Big 12.
Yeah,
Texas and Oklahoma gone, more teams are going to follow, so it'll be interesting.
yeah. I wonder if the conferences, other Power Five conferences, just say, "Screw it, it's open season on everybody. We're gonna go to war with against each other instead of helping each other out against the big powerful SEC." So
Yeah,
that
that
that's gonna be fun to watch going forward.
yeah, that would be fun if they opened it up.
Yeah, because Lord knows Florida State's been they've been not helped by the ACC over the years.
Yeah,
Even though it's Clemson's conference now, it's just Florida State was a big dog for a number of years back in the day.
yeah, and it'll stop the whole conversation. Like, oh, the SEC, we got this non-champion SEC that has 2 losses, but they could beat the Big Ten champion or they could beat whoever. So it's going to eliminate that conversation. So
Yeah.
best team's going to be there at the end.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing Bama and Clemson go at it every single year.
Me too, but they're so good.
Yeah, it's just you can pretty much sharpie them in every single
Yeah,
year.
as long
It's
as as long as Saban and Dabo are around, I don't see that changing.
no, it's yeah, that's just Ohio State's tried their best to dethrone those two, but it's a whole different ball game down south.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's our pretty much a wrap on the union address for college football. A lot of things have changed, and I'm pretty sure things will go change even more further as we go down the season. So we have a couple of intriguing games going down on week 0, starting on Saturday, in the middle of preseason, the last week of NFL preseason. So starting off at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's 10 a.m. for you Pacific coasters out there. So that's going to be early start. Nebraska versus Illinois on Fox. So that's Big Ten. Big Ten starting us off.
Big Ten starting us off. Two kind of middle tier, lower tier teams in that conference. So it should make for a good football game at least.
It's just Nebraska is a little bit under controversy now with their scandal misusing their analysts and a certain assistant coach is leading workouts during the off season when they're supposed to. So Scott Frost he's already been under fire for being bad at his job at Nebraska. So this might be the thing that tips it over, but hopefully not. He's been a pretty good coach at UCF, so I don't know what's happened at Nebraska. But Nebraska's been poor before him and might be poor after him, given his resources and relative location in the country.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. I think it might be a lot of pressure just at Nebraska, though, because you look back in the day, they were a powerhouse, and I think some like the older folks there and some of the boosters there are probably expecting that, and that's not the case anymore.
No, it's the triple option is pretty much gone and buried.
The Tommy Frazier days are over.
Yeah, it's just they don't run triple option anymore unless they're service academy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Illinois has a couple of prospects here and there, but they have a new coach this year. Brett Bielema is a familiar face. He's a former Arkansas head coach, so he replaces Lovie Smith and his majestic beard. I'm sad to say, but Illinois. It's just they're Illinois. I mean, I'll say that they're not going to challenge anybody like the Ohio States of the world. They'll be happy with 500. I think
they have a few guys where they could, like you said, probably finish middle of the conference, maybe 500. Maybe they push at the end and win a game they're not supposed to. Maybe get a bowl bid. They got Peters at quarterback. Brandon Peters. He's been decent. I mean, going into the draft this year, he'll probably be mid-round guy. Maybe he'll get an invite, probably I'd say to the Senior Bowl or be a combine guy. They'll get some looks, and then they got some tight ends though, man. They got what's his name? Daniel Barker. Off the tip of my tongue. He's a big receiving threat for him. I mean, they don't have. I was looking back at last season. Coming back, they don't have any receivers pretty much that stand out. So it's gonna be a lot of tight end usage, and they got another tight end from I think transferred in from Ohio State that was used a little bit last year. That they said it's going to be used a little more this year, maybe. So we have a couple guys, and you got Doug Kramer at center. He's going to be one of the top centers in this class, and then Jake Hansen will lead that defense at inside linebacker. He was their leading tackler last year, and he's another guy that'll probably be on like some all-star game watch lists and stuff. So they've got some stuff there, but like you said, just not good enough to really do much damage.
Yeah, if anything, Bielema is known for his offensive line, so that'll be an area to watch if he recruits and develop guys for the next level. So they also have Chase Brown returning, their leading rusher, but Brandon Peters, he's pretty much our only weapon on offense. I did his scouting report a couple of years ago, and I wasn't impressed. But he's a super senior, so experience counts. I'll say that. Yeah. It's going to be interesting if Nebraska has a couple of guys as well. So they have Taylor Martinez, who's been there forever. It seems like maybe too long for certain Nebraska fans, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The Martinez name just seems like it's lived forever. Their quarterback, yet Adrian, that seemed like he was there forever.
Yeah.
And Taylor seemed like he's been there forever. He's got McCaffrey out of the way now, so I guess it's his show. And then they lost a big piece though, man. Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm happy because he came to one Wildcats in Kentucky. I'm anxious to see how we use him. But man, that receiving core after losing him, I mean, he was the majority of their touches last year. So whether it was out of the backfield or at receiver, so there's gonna be some guys that have to step up.
Yeah. Speaking of stepping up, they have Marquise Step from USC, their running back. So he's been injured a ton at USC. So we'll see if he's healthy for Nebraska. So they lost the Davis brothers at defensive tackle from a couple of years ago. So the black shirt defense isn't what it was like the program. They're still living in the past. I think Nebraska is going to have a middling 500 year if everything goes right. Their schedule is just not ideal. It's brutal.
Like you said, I mean, he's not a terrible coach. I mean, they could maybe stick with him for a couple years, build the foundation a little bit. I mean, who knows? They could be a little bit of something at least.
Yeah, it's just there's no way he can turn into a bad coach overnight.
Yeah.
From what he did at UCF to Nebraska. I mean, I know UCF has like the hotbed of Florida into it, so that's certain one thing. It's just Nebraska is not going to go into Florida anymore, or much less anywhere else in the Midwest. Say, hey, we're the big boys, but it's just Nebraska should be better than what they are.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just I see 500 being their ceiling. It's just their schedule is not is brutal. Yeah.
I see them kind of in the same respects as Illinois. I mean, 500 if they win a couple games. I mean, they're not supposed to. Crazy things happen in football. They could squeeze out maybe a bowl bid, like a very small bowl, but it's a bowl game.
Yeah, especially with COVID now, anything can happen with COVID. You can have an opponent that has to forfeit because they have nobody else to play. So it's just weird. It's going to be another weird year.
I think it's going to be another weird year in college football on all accounts.
Yeah. There's very few guarantees.
Yes.
Like Alabama and Clemson being it every single freaking year. So yeah, just COVID. It's an ongoing thing. I don't think it'll ever be solved per se.
Yeah.
That's getting into too much into politics we don't get into. Yeah, because that's a whole other show. And so I think that wraps up. Who do you think's gonna win the game?
Just looking at the rosters and looking where they come back, I think I'll take Illinois this one. Just in a very, very close, probably low scoring game, like a 20 to 17 or something kind of game.
Yeah. I don't know. It's Nebraska has a couple games might be looking ahead to next month. So I think Illinois pulls it out by maybe 2 points, 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's week 0 and no one's looking forward to week 0, really. Yeah. It's gonna be like an NFL preseason game pretty much.
Yeah. It's one of those weeks that football fans are gonna watch because we're so excited to get football. But then you're gonna be watching like, wow, this is Illinois and Nebraska.
Yeah. And that might be the game of the day, folks. So that's how bad that schedule is. But next up, it might be an intriguing game. This next game, so UCLA in Hawaii, 3:30 on ESPN. So that's gonna be really fun if both offenses show up.
Yes. I mean, like I was talking, me and you were talking a little bit earlier about UCLA. I mean, they're not going to be world beaters by any means, but they intrigue me. I mean, I think you said it best. They're going to be fun, and they got some pieces that they could do some with. I like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He gives you a little bit of everything on offense. He's had a decent career so far, so he's looking to kind of put his name a little further up in his draft stock. And then you got the running back Charbonnet out of transfer out of Michigan. He'll be good for them this year. And they got some good O linemen. Sean Ryan, I mean, they're talking about him. Most analysts have him like top 15 pick right now. So he's going to be a nice anchor on that offensive line. So if he can get a line around him, they could get the run game going. They could make some noise.
Yeah, they have a tight end, Greg Dulcich. He's talked about as one of the best Mackey Award finalists. So we'll see. Chase Cota, the son of former Oregon legend. So, I don't know what Oregon was doing there, but that's another podcast. They have a couple of pieces they need to replace, like Demetric Felton, my buddy, my draft crush from last year. So I think he's a Brown, I believe, Cleveland Brown.
Yes,
I think
Browns.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Felton's gonna be fun in Cleveland behind Chubb. So
don't tell me that,
Joseph. Dorian Thomas. Yeah, I know. I know you're a Steelers fan, but that division's gonna be a war.
Yeah. He had more firepower to that offense, so it could be scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Titans play Cleveland, so I'm worried too. Yeah. But like you said, DTR, he's been in the Chip Kelly system forever. It seems like he's been there ever since Josh Rosen left a few years ago now. So his biggest obstacle is just staying healthy, because if he stays healthy, he's not Kyler Murray, but he can be Kyler Murray discount version. So he's fun, especially Chip Kelly's offense.
That's who I really see some of his. I see a lot of Kyler in him. Like you said, maybe a 2.0 version, maybe a Dollar Tree version Kyler Murray, but he's got something there.
Yeah. It's just health with him. I just want him to be healthy for 1 year.
Oh yeah, I would love to see him.
Yeah, he's still a true junior, so he's been there forever, it seems like. So defensively, they have Quentin Lake that returned. They still have to replace O Osa from last year. He was a big part of their defense last year. Went to the Senior Bowl, blew up there, and got drafted like middle of the draft. I think I have to go back and check. But yeah, it's just Chip Kelly's offense is pretty much figured out now. So we'll have to see if he can evolve and develop.
Yeah, I mean I think it's gonna be an offensive game though, man. I mean Hawaii's always known for their offense. They got a quarterback over there, Chevin. Drawing a blank on his last name. I'm looking.
Or Cordero.
Yes, he's been very good for them lately. I mean, he threw for over 2,000 yards last year, double-digit touchdowns. I mean, and they've always been known for having that gunslinger quarterback, and he can run too. He was a very mobile guy as well, and then he's got a guy to get the ball to, Calvin Turner, that I like a lot. He's a little guy. He's, I believe, like 5'7", but he's a little scat back guy. They use him out of the backfield. He's listed as a receiver, but he's going to be one of those guys that at the next level, they'll probably test him all over the place because he comes out of the backfield, lines up in the slot, all that good stuff. He's their main kickoff returner, so he's going to get the ball a ton. And then they got a guy that was on Last Chance U, Dior Scott. I was looking at their depth chart. He's going to be right there in the rotation of receivers. I'm kind of interested to see him, man. See if he can get it done in Hawaii.
Yeah, if you're into college fantasy like some people are, a Hawaii guy you can never go wrong with them
No.
because they put up stats.
Yeah, because I mean, since Colt Brennan, RIP, but they
Yeah,
have been known for chucking the ball.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
I have Calvin on my fantasy team. I just drafted last night, so I hope he blows up.
yeah, he's a
Yeah.
great fantasy guy because he's going to get the ball all day.
So who are you liking in this one?
I mean, it's going to be an offensive shootout. I think therefore for at least a half. But I think UCLA is going to have too much at the end of the day, especially if Thompson can get going at quarterback. I think they got a better defense than Hawaii, just all around. So I think UCLA pulls away and wins by at least a couple scores.
Yeah, I think Hawaii having to travel. I know they do it all the time, but having to travel to Los Angeles, especially on top of the news that they won't have any home fans this year, that's going to be put a downer on them morale wise. I think UCLA is going to beat them by at least 15, 17 points at the end. It's going to be fun, maybe 3 quarters in, maybe until UCLA just puts on the gas and just goes.
Yeah.
But you never know with UCLA because that 7 overtime game last a couple of years ago against Washington State that everyone stayed up for. It was like 60 something, 60 to 50 in the fourth quarter.
It's a game.
It ended up being a basketball.
It's a game on paper that UCLA should honestly run away with. But I mean, if Hawaii's offense gets rolling, it could be a shootout. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's just Cordero is more careful with the ball than Cole McDonald is, so he won't throw the ball away to the other team
Yeah.
as much as McDonald did. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, like you said. It's gonna be probably the best game of the night or day.
Yeah. It'll be the most. It may not be the closest, but it'll definitely be the most exciting.
Yeah. So that's pretty much. Oh, there's one more interesting game on the docket that should be relevant to everybody in the Power Five. UConn against Fresno State. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's 2 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. So for you Husky fans and Bulldog fans out there that are just dying for college football, there you go.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting for UConn because they actually didn't play last season. So, I mean, I was trying to look up stuff on them, and I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out who's gonna be good because
Yeah.
they haven't played since 2019. So, I mean, they got a D tackle, Travis Jones, that's been really popping up on draft Twitter. I've seen several times lately. He'll probably be a guy that you see explode during the season, probably get some invites and then blow up during draft season as well. But I mean, besides him, I don't see anybody on UConn that really has that type of buzz to them. Fresno
Yeah.
State, they've got a couple guys on offense. They got Ronnie Rivers Jr. back at running back, their leading rusher from last year. He also contributed a lot in the passing game, so he could make some noise for them in this game. And then they got a quarterback that transferred from Washington that played pretty well last year. Jake Hayner, he was over a 2,000-yard guy last year, and he was also getting something done on the ground too. So that little duo, they might have something going for them, and I think that'll be the difference in this game. At least we'll see how they do against some more stout competition, but.
Yeah, next week they might be looking past the UConn a little bit for next week because they face Oregon at Autzen. So
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a different type of game.
yeah. So pretty much all the Pac-12 fans are pretty much gonna pay attention to Fresno State because they play Oregon at UCLA. So Jeff Tedford, excuse me, he's a former Cal head coach. So there's ties there as well. So that's gonna be a fun game. I think Fresno State is gonna win because they're more talented than UConn is, and UConn has like a year layoff as it should. So they might be rusty a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say Fresno might run away with this one, but I mean, like we say, UConn's been away for a year. They could have some guys that just come out that we don't know about, man.
Yeah.
Crazier things have happened, so I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, Hawaii fans will be watching that game for sure because they play at Hawaii in October. So
Fresno does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are other couple of games on the schedule, but overall those are the three big games that we've highlighted that has the most draft prospect potential. So
unless you want to watch San Jose State and see what Nick Starkel can do, see if he can revitalize his career that seemed like it's gone on for 8 years now.
Yeah, I remember him at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, he's been all over the place.
Yeah. So I think that's it for the games that we have. So do you have any other closing thoughts or anything important you want to share out there to the world?
I'm just excited, man. I'm excited for college football season, excited for get scouting going with Blitz, excited to get this show rolling. Next week we'll have a full slate of games with more guys to talk about for all the folks back home. So I'm just ready for football. It's preseason football. NFL has been fun to watch, but it's just a tease, man. We get high school football back going here, and then college football this weekend, and then weekend after that it's all back. Or 2 weeks away, it's all back.
Yeah, basketball is right around the corner, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It seems like they just ended.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun sports year, I think. So I'm ready for real football to start finally. Yeah, the Labor Day weekend is a traditional kickoff point for college football to start. So I'm looking forward to doing another show with bigger names and bigger programs. Not to say that these programs we talked about today aren't big, but they're just like they're the appetizer to the main course.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just, of course, NFL wise, I think the NFL, some teams did week 2 as like their big dress rehearsal game. Some teams are doing week 3 as their big dress rehearsal game, but it depends on team to team. But we'll see how the season plays out there. But I think who do you think's gonna win? I know it's too early for that, but who do you think's gonna win the Super Bowl preliminary?
Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I mean, you got it.
I don't think repeat. I don't think.
You don't think Tampa can repeat?
They have the power to do it.
I don't know, man. I just look at that roster. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's just I think the Chiefs are gonna be back in it.
Chiefs are gonna be back.
Yeah.
We could have another Brady Mahomes matchup. Very easy.
Yeah. Yeah. But you never know with a Madden cover curse if it still exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, there's another game going on tonight, Monday Night Football, finally, Saints and Jaguars.
Yeah.
So,
I guess technically, according to Urban Meyer, we've got 2 quarterback battles in this game, not just the Saints, but they're saying Trevor's got to show his worth. So I know he had a heck of a high grade with us at Blitz, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's it's gonna be interesting to see if Trevor Lawrence lives up to the hype like Andrew Luck did a couple of years ago. But that's gonna be interesting to see if he can lift the Jaguars from the basement.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some pieces, but I think they're a couple years away at least.
Yeah.
What about college football playoff? Who you got this year, man?
I think it's gonna be usual suspects. Bama, Clemson, probably. Well, Clemson for sure because they have a cupcake conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ohio State probably is in there for sure if they don't trip up against Michigan or anybody else. Even if they lose somehow, miraculously lose to Oregon, they'll still be in the playoffs because Oregon is Oregon. So I think those three are for sure, and whoever wins the Pac-12 probably.
Yeah, I'd say those top three for sure, and then you got to take into account winner of Pac-12 and Oklahoma. I mean, if they can run through the Big 12, and if Rattler's as good as they say, me personally, I'm not 100% sold on him yet.
Yeah.
But if he's at his best, I mean, they could make some noise as well. And I mean, I think there's some teams like I think Cincinnati's got to be taken seriously this year, and if Iowa State can get a good version of Brock Purdy, they could maybe challenge Oklahoma. So,
Brees is RB1.
yes,
I'm saying it now.
yes, very
There,
much so.
there might be some dispute, but I'm just saying it now.
Yeah.
It might be a hot take later on, but we'll see.
You're getting no dispute for me. Brees Hall's my guy as of now. There could be
Yeah.
somebody that changes my mind, but
Yeah, their running back class is loaded again.
yes, I like that. I mean, I like the running back, and I like the receiver class really.
Yeah,
You got the two guys at Ohio State with Wilson and Olave. You got Burks over at Arkansas. You got Pickens if he can play at some point at Georgia. You got Bama will have Mechie, and they'll probably have somebody else come out of nowhere like they always do.
yeah, another 5-star recruit we've always heard of it.
Yeah.
Out west for the receivers, I like Drake London a little bit from UC because he's finally the man now. And Justin Ross, if he's healthy from Clemson, hopefully he's healthy. Jahan Dotson from Penn State, he's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
If they get a quarterback, that's semi decent.
I mean, that's another team though. USC. I mean, I think they win the Pac-12. They've got some players over there. They got Slovis and they got London, and they got who is it? Robinson over there, running back now, or no, not Robinson. From Texas.
Yeah, Bijan.
Yeah, Bijan Robinson. Yes.
Or no, not Bijan.
Or no, Bijan took the guy's spot.
I think he's still somebody at US. Keontae Ingram, I believe his name is.
Yes. Yes. But they could surprise some folks.
Yeah. It's just I don't believe in Arizona State this year, especially with their little scandal thing going on that's brewing. Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to affect them.
I don't.
Positively, negatively, or.
I hate it. I hate it with Arizona State because I love Jaden Daniels. I think he's great, but he just doesn't have much.
Yeah, plus he's really skinny though.
Yeah, that would worry. That worries me at the next level a little bit. But as far as the college football quarterback, I think I liked him.
Yeah, it's just he's lost too many weapons. Darby, Ayuk from a couple of years ago. But I think Texas A&M is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
They have Spiller and Anaya Smith, who's been blown up. They're in their camp reportedly. So, yeah.
And then you got Weidermeyer over there at tight end. I mean, he's at least in the conversation for tight end one. That's a big debate right now, but he's one of the guys. I mean, and if Haynes King can be as good as they say he is, then I mean, I'll be honest, they're not going to beat Alabama, but they could be in a New Year's Six bowl easily because that could be their only loss.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of tight ends, it's just it's a lot better class than last year's was. I'll say that.
Yes,
Yes, miles better.
because I mean, last year you had Pitt, who was on a different tier, and then I mean
Yeah,
you had my guy Fryermuth we just got. He's gonna be good, and then like like Brevin Jordans and guys like that that might be okay, but this year you've got a lot of guys that are just like right there, right with each other. So that'll be
yeah. It's just
interesting to see.
yeah. You can always expect Notre Dame to prop out the big uglies. So
Yeah. Notre Dame.
it's
Notre Dame's got a tight end coming up that's gonna be Michael Mayer. He's gonna be special. I watched him play in high school. Man, he's gonna be a first round pick. I'm telling you right now. He's so good.
is he better than Claypool?
Better than Claypool? I mean,
No.
no, but
Uh,
I mean Claypool was a receiver. Myers
yeah.
more of a complete tight end. So
Yeah. Well, is he better than anything Notre Dame has produced in the past couple of years? I don't know.
I mean,
We'll
there's
see, but you know,
there's a lot to compare him to Notre Dame first tight
yeah,
end.
yeah.
So
It's yeah, it's just everything, you know, it's the tight end class is loaded if especially if Eric Gilbert gets his personal stuff together and plays. Because right now he's reportedly away from Georgia.
yeah, I
So
saw that. I mean Georgia, they
yeah,
could be another team, man. If all their weapons can play, like you got him, and then you've got like I was saying earlier, Pickens if he can come back and play, and if JT Daniels lights it up like he did a little bit last year, then they could. I mean, they'll win the East, I'm sure, but um, they could challenge for a spot in the playoff as well.
yeah. Yeah, it's just they're gonna be a run-based team again. Well, which is pretty good because they have really good offensive running backs.
Yeah,
Uh,
they always have.
Zamir, James Cook.
Yeah,
Yeah, they always have like two or three good running backs that could start everywhere else, even at Alabama. So,
yeah.
um, so do you have any other closing thoughts on this upcoming season, or?
I mean, I'm like I say, I'm excited to get things going and see how things pan out. Like see,
Mm-hmm.
like we said, see if anybody can knock off one of the two big dogs, man.
Yeah,
Get Alabama or Clemson out of there, make things interesting.
yeah. I don't know. Clemson's been. It's just they've been prone to going back to being Clemson
Yeah,
from a few years ago. It's just every now and then some team catches them by surprise, but you know we'll
yeah,
see. They really have a soft schedule.
yeah.
It's just yeah. I don't see anybody beating them in the conference.
People talk about Miami and North Carolina, which are both good teams, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. No,
Which they do get Georgia this year though, so
that's gonna be a fun opener.
yes, that's gonna be a game.
Yeah. Uh, it's just I wanted Notre Dame to stay in the ACC because that would have been
Yes.
much better competition.
Yeah. Notre Dame needs to stay in the conference period.
Because I know I think they're gonna have to eventually to join a
Yeah,
conference because it's the money too good. Even in a conference, compared to being independent.
yeah. And I mean they always struggle with that when the college football playoff comes around. It's like, well, they didn't play a championship game. They've been just playing whoever. So it's hard for voters, man. I wouldn't want to be in their position. You just see an SEC championship game or Big Ten, ACC, and then you didn't get to see Notre Dame. So it's like, well, how do we put one of these teams, them in over one of these teams? You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be hopefully there's some more parity coming this year.
I hope so.
Hopefully everyone stays safe from COVID
Yeah.
because the policies this year for each conference is really clear cut.
Yeah.
The ACC just came out with a policy that says if both teams can't play, they're both forfeits. So no matter who got it first or anything. So the difference. I wish that there was a uniform policy instead of having different conferences for different things. And
Because that was rough last year, both college and NFL. You know, you had some games that were postponed, and then some games where they had to play what they had. Like, I don't know, it was just confusing all around.
Yeah, no one wants a Denver Broncos situation where the quarterbacks from last year.
Yeah, you don't want to practice. Nobody wants to see a practice squad receiver out there at quarterback.
Yeah, poor guy. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it against like one of the best defenses in the NFL too? I was like, man,
I forget who it was against, but it was, you felt for him because you want to be excited for guys like that because they're shot. But it's like, man, you've got no chance, buddy.
And I was like, dude, that was it happened like really late in the week too. I was like, oh my god, that's gonna be Of course, the Tennessee Titans, the originators of the COVID problem in the NFL last year, unfortunately. But hopefully everyone stays safe, gets the vaccine if they're able to, wear masks, all that good stuff, all the safe and healthy safety protocols, because we really need a full college season. Because last year was a drag.
That's what I'm looking forward to here in Kentucky, man. When they're making you wear masks at Kroger Field here, but I'm like, man, I don't care what I have to wear. I was like, I just want to see some live SEC football. Like, I'm just ready to get it going.
Yeah, it's just I want to see with like as minimal cancellations as possible.
Yeah.
Because Ohio State had to beg to get in the playoff last year because they weren't even eligible to qualify for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah. And I mean, which I can see the case from other teams, but at the same time, it's like Ohio State was a very talented team, so that just kind of stunk that they had to beg and plead their case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just I believe these college teams are gonna do like whatever it takes, like the NFL teams did last year, where it's like if we have to hold out everybody, we're gonna hold out everybody just get the whole season through it.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm just ready to see what happens.
Yeah. You never know. We might get another 2007 season where everything goes batshit crazy. Pardon my French.
Yeah, that was a year for me, especially as a Kentucky fan. We knock off LSU, we're number 1, and then we move up to number 8, and then the next week they have college game day here, and Tebow comes into town and beats us by like 40, and then after that we plummeted and went to the Music City Bowl.
Yeah.
Rough. Then you had USF and Kansas in the top 5.
Yeah, that was West Virginia was up there for a little bit.
I'd love to see that again.
Yeah, it's just it's just Bama. I think Miami fans are they're getting too cocky.
Yeah, I mean they have
Bama fans. Yeah, Bama's gonna slaughter Miami, I think.
Yeah, that's not gonna be a pretty game. If that game is fairly close at all, then Dior King has made a name for himself, in my opinion. He doesn't even have to win the game. If he can make some plays against Alabama.
I like King as quarterback, though. He was one of my favorites for the past couple of years.
Yeah. I like him a lot. I like him at Miami a lot because they needed a quarterback for so long.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Florida State does this year with a new quarterback. Well, a newish quarterback, Mackenzie Milton from UCF. Yeah. He's super healthy, so Jordan Travis, he's like our changeup.
I'd like to see Miami and Florida State both be good again. College football's better.
Yeah.
When they're good.
Yeah. That was the like rivalry everyone watched like when it happened back in the 90s and early 80s. It was like everybody watched that rivalry, no matter where they're from.
Because whoever won that game was more than likely going to be at least in the championship game or going to be your national champion. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun season.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any oh yeah, so where can we follow your work on social media and whatnot and do your promotions?
Yeah, Twitter, Twitter, Instagram, pretty much everything's at Lippert 42. Like I said, you can find my work at Blitz, and then you can find me on Steel City Underground during the season if you're a Steelers fan, want to see some stuff. Those are the two main places for me.
Yeah, my Twitter is 2UN to 0 Blitz. That's 2 O's in the UN. That's a play on words. I'm not a fan of zero blitzing, by the way. It's not fun.
Chaotic.
Yeah. And you can follow me on Instagram as well. They're not in that same name as well. Also, you can follow my work on Blitzalytics. I do the Titans beat writer stuff, and also this podcast, Prospect Power Hour, coming soon to near you. So please give us a rating and review. And I look forward to this season, scouting all the good players, and hopefully they all live up to our standards, and hopefully they can excel and get drafted really high and make a lot of money. Yeah. Even though they all won't be first round picks, it's everyone's a first round pick in our books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking for some players to make us look smart.
Yeah. Yeah. We like to thank Jack Bourgeois, the Blitzalytics co-founder, for giving us this a chance. So yeah. I believe that wraps up our show for today. Thanks for listening, folks.
All right.
Have a good week. Yeah.